Well, Dad, we just did an Instagram live for the first time together. The first time we ever did anything social media together, and now this is what SpongeBob SquarePants does. You know, I love SpongeBob, and you're probably ashamed of that, but this is Around the Fire
This is nice.
podcast. This is your new fire pit, by the way.
Jimmy and Frankie put this fire pit together for us, so we appreciate it very much.
Jimmy kind of did it. We just went to Lowe's, me and you, a few times.
Well, we brought the goods, and Jimmy put it together, made it happen.
We brought
All
the
I know
goods.
is that fire right there in the old pit would have been way too big. Now it looks like it's teeny.
Yeah, it's a
compared
little
to the
baby
rest of
fire.
the pit.
I know. Tommy,
fantastic,
you're over
though.
here. Tommy, can you reload fire as we're going, just to make sure that the flames are still looking really pretty and cinematic while we're doing this whole thing?
I think it's sweet right now.
Dad, this is supposed to be a fishing podcast, and we just did an Instagram live. It's supposed to be for 30 minutes, and we did it for an hour and a half, so I know you're already probably worn out from talking. But people on our YouTube, all 400 of them,
You got to start going. By the way, did the 400 people know you're an official captain now?
I'm officially a captain now.
Let them know. Let's go.
I'm a captain, so you need to book some trips.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Hey. So yeah, book a charter. Website will be up in whenever Jimmy gets it done. You built the fire pit, so now it's website time, Jim.
It's going to be good, boys and girls. Seriously.
It'll be
You
fun.
want to catch some fish, you're going with the right guy. I promise you that. You'll have a good time, too.
No matter what stories.
That
you
really
hear.
hurt to say, but...
Because the stories you're going to tell right now are contradictory to.
Oh, no, they're Frankie stories. If you guys know Frankie, these are typical Frankie stories. Go ahead.
All right. Let's start with when I grew up. You hated fishing, and
I
Mom
still
loved
hate fishing.
Why?
If I don't catch anything in 5 minutes, I'm bored silly.
But we always catch things now.
No, we don't either. You do, I don't.
The last 2 times we went, you caught
Dude,
a
the only
38-inch
thing, the only
snook.
thing we catch is the crap that... Never mind.
You caught a 38-inch snook last time you visited me, and you caught a 20-pound king mackerel.
No, last couple of times I fished with you, we have caught something. I agree.
Growing
But
up,
prior to,
I
I
started
have
you.
not had much success with.
Okay, we went to the Keys. That's where my passion really began. You took us with.
Every year we used to go with some neighbors, good friends of ours in Naps, to Isle Morada. And Frankie got to know, more important than anything, he got to know the captains of the area
I would call them like a year ahead of time.
ahead of time and book this for the couple of days we're there. And I mean, he had everything set. That's the only time in life that he had things situated.
Can you imagine being the captain, by the way, having a 13-year-old call you or a 12-year-old call you, be like, I'd like to book you for these 4 days, please.
You know what? And they'd look forward to that. Trust me, because
They
they
did.
had a good time. The 2 captains we went, usually Frankie and Chris, or Frankie and myself, or Frankie and his mom would go on one boat, and Chris and his dad, or
His mom, sisters.
mom and sister would go. Anyway, I didn't go a whole bunch. I only went once or twice to appease Frankie and everybody, but he always wanted to go every day, and it was backcountry fishing at that time. So they wanted to get that tarpon real bad. So this one trip, Frankie goes with the one captain, and Kathy, Frankie's mom, goes with Brittany, our daughter, our older daughter, in the other boat. And they're going to go out for tarpon.
I picked Captain Dick because Captain Dick was by far the better captain. He was just, the 3 years prior, he was straight up superior.
Yeah, Frankie loved
We
him.
caught snook, redfish,
Bonefish.
You hooked a tarpon, we cooked a bonefish. He was the best captain.
It was a grand slam. What was the grand slam? What were the fish that was?
Bonefish, permit, and tarpon. We were
That's it.
one tarpon away.
Yeah. So anyway, they go out this one day, and I stayed back, and
I jumped on Captain Dick's boat immediately.
now, mind you, let's segue this into it. They've never caught a tarpon at all. Nobody in the Viola family has caught a tarpon to this point.
I spent 5
And this
hours.
is all he's talking about for the last 6 months is catching a tarpon. So they get on the boat, and within 15 minutes, all of a sudden there's yelling and screaming from the other boat.
We weren't even out of the marina yet.
And what
We
happened?
were still in the marina, and I see a tarpon jumping underneath the bridge. And I'm like, Captain Dick, they've got a tarpon on. And he goes, no, they don't. There's no tarpon there. I'm like, and 13-year-old me was even saying, bullshit, there's a tarpon jumping. And then all of a sudden, my mom's screaming, and Brittany's screaming, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Captain Dick was the better captain. Captain Bill is the shit captain. I picked Captain Dick for a reason. And I picked wrong because 20 minutes later,
Mom brought in a, 40-pounder?
40-pound tarpon.
And then, okay, fast forward for an hour or two. what
No,
happened?
fast forward 20 minutes later, we had a phone call on the radio. There's like the radios, and it was like channel 16, where it's supposed to be like the emergency channel. And it's like, emergency, call to all captains. There are daisy chains everywhere on this flat. And Captain Dick's like, oh, yeah, we get that all the time. And Captain Bill, I look to the right, Captain Bill's like, brrr, and he's gone. And we're like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, Captain Dick, why aren't we going? And whatever 13-year-old me was saying, I don't know. But they were gone. And he's like, we're going in a minute. There's probably some fish here. We sat there for like another half hour, no fish. And we pull up, and we literally pull up, and Captain's like, Dick's like, oh, my God, there's fish everywhere here. I'm like, no shit. They said it on the radio. And he anchors up, and he puts lines out. And by the time he's got like one line out, I look up, and I hear this abrupt scream. I mean, I swear to God, Dad, people in the Bahamas could hear this scream of Mom's. And then you hear Brittany go, "No, my God, Mom, you get it, girl," or some stupid shit. And there's a tarpon comes out of the water. It's the biggest tarpon I've ever seen in my life.
How's that? And they brought it in?
40 minutes.
And around how much was that? 100?
120-pound tarpon. I remember it like it was yesterday. I can
And it's
still
so funny.
see her
It
over
was
there
so
doing
funny. It was so funny because Frankie is at this point. You talk about major depressed. He's major depressed now. But we get back to the hotel. We didn't say anything. You know,
We didn't go to the hotel. You packed everybody up, and we left.
We felt
from the
felt
marina.
for him a little bit. But I go back and I go to Mrs. Viola. I go, so how did it feel? She goes, oh, it was amazing. Brittany was, you know, I was bringing
Pouring
this in.
water over
She's
it.
pouring water over me to keep me cool. I'm bringing the fish in and stuff. And all I hear is Frankie just, you know, from 50 yards away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. So we ended up leaving that afternoon to go back to Orlando. And it's a, 4 or 5 hour.
Yes.
And I swear to God, with the exception of maybe 5 minutes where he had no tears left, he cried the whole ride home. His T-shirt was absolutely soaking wet by the time we got home. And, you know, instigating Mom and Dad and stuff, we couldn't help but rub it in. You know, Frankie, how did it feel? Oh, sorry, you didn't catch the tarpon. Mom,
Yeah,
how did
that's
it
what
feel?
it was. It was Mom saying, "Oh, Frankie, you should feel the power of these things. They're incredible. You were so right.
Oh, he was
The
so...
only thing you were wrong about was that they're not that hard to catch." And then it would be like, I'd cry, and then 10 minutes of silence, and then all of a sudden the radio would go down, and you hear my sister Brittany, who we still go at it. Which, by the way, my sister Brittany is a numerous-time Olympian.
Frankie, I'm sorry, it's a 6-hour drive back.
It's a 6-hour drive back. Yeah,
So we had 6 hours worth of
6
tears.
hours worth of
If it
this
works
shit.
for you, I just want you to know it was a
So
6-hour
like
drive.
we'd have like the Bee Gees or like
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel or Elton John or someone on the radio, and he just turned down. I'm like, oh no. And I would immediately start swelling up because I knew my dad was going to make fun of me. And then by like the third or fourth time, my sister would even start doing it. And she'd be like, hey, Frankie, I really appreciate all the information you gave us on the way down here. I got to know, what was it like catching your first... Oh, that's right. Mom, what was it like catching your first tarpon? And then you guys would all start laughing. My sister Kaylee's in like a toddler seat, and she's like,
So you got to understand, Frankie he was as ADD as anybody, and his focus was, when it was focused, he hyper-focused. When he wasn't focused, he wasn't there. This tarpon had him hyper focused. So when he missed out on it and had to live with this for the period of time he had to live with,
4
I don't
years.
know how he felt. It was 4 years before you
Yes, because we stopped going to the Keys after that year, and then I had to go with Mom. My graduation present was to go to the Keys.
I actually got to the point where I actually feel sorry for him a little bit. And
I didn't catch my first tarpon on my own until 4 years ago. I was 32.
now you're doing pretty good right now.
Well, yeah, I've got way more tarpon you'll ever catch in your life, by the way. Thank you very much.
I've
Now.
seen 2 of them jump on my line. I still can't bring them in. Every time I got one online, he'd tell me how to do it, and every time the
You'd
damn
break it
thing
off.
jumped, it would be off. I had no clue how to do it. I had no feel for it.
I never told you this. You remember the tarpon I claimed was my first tarpon after my graduation present? I actually shared. Mom hooked the damn thing.
Mom did.
And she gave me the rod. She felt bad for me when I was 18.
She's the sleeper. She's the sleeper fisherman in the family.
She's the best fisherman ever. When I first got that little crap boat, the first time I actually started like thinking about like I should be a captain. I really need to do this. I had that crap boat before you guys bought the Hell's Bay for me to help me get started. I knew what I was doing, and I swear to God, we hooked 3 tarpon that night. Every one of them, Mom hooked. I didn't hook a single one. She hooked all the tarpon in Tampa before I hooked my first one too.
Oh,
I'm like,
geez.
Mom, all the captains told me to do this. You should do this. And I'd like be like, oh, we had a tarpon on Mom. It'd be like a shark or like a grouper or something. And then she would hook it and then tarpon. I'm like, what? This is still happening at 32 years old.
She's always been pretty good with that.
Mm.
The walleye in Minnesota. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, all the walleye. Everything. She does catch all the freaking fish.
She does. She does a good job.
So the best trip ever was, we didn't even tell this on live, by the way. The Alaska trip. You took me there, and we landed, and you made me eat reindeer, and then you took us.
No, you and Mike wanted to try it.
Yes, it
In
was so good.
Anchorage, there's this hot dog vendor right outside the downtown, and it said it was venison hot dogs.
It was so good.
And I was like, you got to be shitting me. There's no way in hell I'm going to have venison. So Frankie goes, yeah, Mr. Flanagan, I'll have some with you. And the two of them are eating it, and I'm like, oh, they're really eating venison.
You lived there for 4 months. How do you not have venison?
I'm not going to touch that crap. I see them. I'm not going to eat them.
So then you took us to your ball field where you played college summer league.
Summer league, yeah.
And then we got in a puddle jumper. And this is before I was afraid of heights and bears for some reason. And we went all the way to King Salmon, Alaska. And by the way, I'm going to precurse the story he's about to tell with the first thing I was told was there's a lot of Russians here. Don't mess with the Russians. So you and Mike...
For some reason, they like to hang out in this area to do their fishing and stuff. So at the location, I'll take it from here.
Mm-hmm.
At the location we're hanging out at, Frankie and Kevin, Mike's son.
We were bored because you were drinking it all the time.
We were at the bar having a couple of beers, Mike and I, and they have this, what's that shuffleboard game?
Shuffleboard.
It's you have the silver,
It's shuffleboard.
blue and red.
It's literally called shuffleboard.
It's called shuffleboard. Anyway, so we're playing that, having a couple of beers, and we're thinking they're behaving themselves out there. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Frankie and Kevin come sprinting into the bar, and they're not allowed in the bar to begin with, and they dive underneath the table, the shuffleboard table. Yeah, he took his shirt off, dove underneath and I'm like, I look at Mike, I'm going, oh my God, something's up. So what's going on, Frankie? What's going on? Well, they're after us. They're after us. They're gonna kill us. And we're like, wait, time out. Who's after you? Who's gonna kill you? Some Russians. I said, what the hell are you talking about, Russians? He said, Kevin and I were throwing rocks across the road, and I inadvertently hit a guy with a rock. And he's coming to get me.
They were in a van. He ran after us, we hit away, then the van came to a screeching halt.
All we're asking you to do is behave yourself, and the next thing I know, he's under the table hiding from Russian guys. Anyway, I had to go outside and talk to the guy and say, hey, he didn't do it on purpose. He's sorry, blah, blah, blah. Thank God it calmed down.
You probably said my son's a dipshit.
I had a few choice words for you.
I'll take care of it.
That was a trip. Then we ended up going fishing, and it was right at the end of king salmon before silver salmon season.
Yeah.
So the big kings were gone, and the silvers were not quite there. So we didn't have very much luck as far as catching fish. We see them, but we couldn't catch them. Well, Mike didn't catch any. I thought I caught one massive one. It turned out bringing it in, we used the net, and it went right through the net, so I knew I didn't catch jack squat.
The fish was so small. It was a salmon. The captain said this is the smallest salmon we've ever seen on this river.
It was the most embarrassing thing I would have been better off not catching a fish.
He had a double scoop it.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Going the opposite way down the river, like they should have gone out.
Yeah, it was. So he ended up catching a 45-pounder, which made it worthwhile. But
we did fly fishing too.
We did fly fishing where I tangled myself up, and Frankie went head to head against the bear.
You threw the guy's fly rod in the water, and you walked to the shore. You were so pissed.
I was so pissed at that. But then you had to fight with the bear because you had a fish on the fly.
He was trying to take my fish, and now I'm terrified of bears. I hate bears. It's my biggest nightmare. Literally.
That was actually a fun trip. And then, I don't know if anybody remembers this, older people, Dante Culpepper was a quarterback in the NFL for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
And he went to the University of Central Florida. The hotel we checked into where this all happened with the Russian guys and stuff, the guy working at the front desk that summer was Dante Culpepper's roommate at UCF.
Oh, shut up.
Don't you remember that?
No, I was 13.
Yeah, it was Dante Culpepper's roommate at UCF. That was his summer job.
Are you kidding me right now?
No, it was true. You gotta ask Mr. Flanagan. True story.
Only thing I remember from that trip, Mr. Flanagan said, was that we had that
halibut,
really nice dinner, and we had 2 nice dinners.
Just for the halibut?
Yes. And he had halibut, and he goes, Frank, I'd like some salt and pepper, just for the halibut.
and you Frank, still use that today with him.
I'll take a beer, please, just for the halibut, just for the hell of it. Just for the halibut. Oh my God, what an old man joke that was. And then he had the pot roast, and every time he farted the next 3 days, he would say, Pot roast. You guys would all say pot roast.
That was a fun trip. We didn't do much catching, but that was a fun trip.
That was a fun trip. Okay, so we did a lot of fishing. I don't even know where to go from here.
Well, my first experience with Frankie with redfish, I got to tell the story too. Frankie, as you could tell, really is self-confident in the fishing department. He knows his stuff. Well, even as a young kid, even if he didn't know his stuff, he knew his stuff because he bragged about anything and everything. That's just who he was. So
what
anyway,
happened to my swag?
It was a good one on the boat. Everything else in life sucked, but on the boat it was good. But we're going for redfish, and we weren't catching anything. So him and the captain decided, let's use this gold jig or something.
Gold spoons.
Gold spoons, and that might attract the redfish. And oh yeah, by the way, Dad, the redfish come in schools, and I'll show you when the schools are coming. I'll show you. So the captain and I are looking, and Frankie out of nowhere goes, "Hey, right over here! Look! There's a school.
Cast, Dad, cast.
They're coming. Cast over this way." I'm looking at the captain, going, "There's not a damn wrinkle in the water, nothing." So the captain says, "Frankie, just you cast that way," and he looked at me and he goes, "You cast this way." So I casted this way, brought a couple of redfish in, and Frankie's still looking that way. And that was when we finally realized he was blind as a bat. He couldn't see shit.
Needed contacts.
And we needed contacts and glasses. So fortunately, that was our way of finding out that he needed glasses.
I thought you would have known. I thought you were good parents. I thought you would have known I couldn't see anything when you asked me.
Well,
like,
you covered things well.
Yeah, like a
and
year.
you couldn't hit a baseball at that time even with glasses, so it didn't matter.
You made me wear rec specs. I look like Horace Grant, like
You
a
did.
white Horace Grant
You
played
did.
all the sports.
Well, you were a
that.
Magic fan, so it worked out great. So
I remember when I got my first braces, and the lady said, "The only thing you can't have is meat," and you took me to McDonald's and made me eat double cheeseburgers. And I was trying to look at the menu, and you're like, "What do you want?" And I was like, I don't know. I can't see it. How did you not know then that I needed
I
contacts?
didn't realize.
Until
I was actually hungry for McDonald's at that time.
Oh my God!
I haven't had them since, but I liked it then.
The rain's coming, you guys. We're in North Carolina, by the way, at my parents' farm. Dad, what do you think about all the animals, by the way, that Mom has?
Yeah, Mom's happy. We got two mini goats. We have a mini pony. We have a donkey. Yeah.
Yeah, and a llama.
A llama.
And
a pony. A horse.
chickens.
10 chickens. 1 rooster that's a pain in the ass.
Why is he
We have a koi pond that Jimmy fixed today that actually works
Jimmy, you
now.
did it.
Jimmy!
I got to fix I have to actually clean the filter now because it's actually working.
Did I tell you what he did today?
Huh.
He was like, I was like, do you need gloves? He's like, oh, yeah, I guess I could use some gloves. And he gets some gloves. I give him the gloves, and he goes, oh, I don't understand what's going on with this. What was it, Jimmy? You didn't know what was going on with what? He goes, I just want to test the 2 wires. So he pinched 2 wires together and he cut them, and the whole thing goes poof, sparks everywhere. I'm like, oh my fucking God, do you die? I'm so sorry I said that. He was trying to short it on purpose. And he's like, well, just stay here in case I do get zapped, and then you need to call 911. I'm like, you're an electrician by trade. Why are you even telling me to sit here and watch you die?
No, that's not what they do.
Unbelievable.
Well, we appreciate that because the koi pond's finally working.
Okay, so let's go to baseball questions just now. You played 16 years in the big leagues, bits and pieces of it. You blew out your elbow in 94. For all the people around that are younger, which is on my whole entire demographic, doesn't know who the hell you are.
Cy Young Award winner.
Cy Young Award, which is the top honor in pitching. You won the World's MVP, which is a top honor in baseball. You made numerous All-Star teams. What was your favorite memory in baseball?
Winning the 7th game of the World Series and just having the time of my life celebrating.
How drunk
You got to
did you
remember,
get?
well, first of all, let me segue it by saying 15 years in the big leagues, that was the only time I made the playoffs. So I really thoroughly enjoyed that. How drunk was I by the end of the night? I was pretty trashed. The best part was Pop. My dad was able to get in the clubhouse to hang out with Kirby
Shut
and those
up.
guys and have a couple of beers with us.
You never told me that.
Yeah, he hung out with us after celebrating.
Did Pop-Up actually have a beer?
He had around 4 or 5 of them. Yeah.
What?
And the worst part about the whole scenario was, 55,000 people in the Metrodome. At that time, it's so loud. They say it's like being under a plane when it takes off. I mean, it's
The
truly that
writers
loud.
say that you were doing that on purpose, like there was extra noises.
No, that was legit. When 55,000 people in the stands, that was legit. But I got home around 4 o'clock in the morning after celebrating and doing all that stuff. Had to be up at 6:30 to go back to the Metrodome and do Good Morning America.
Oh my God.
So I probably did Good Morning America pretty. And pretty much half trash. But it was good.
The Disney World quote.
Oh, that's right. You were the first baseball player.
First one in baseball to ever do that. So the 8th inning ended.
What
Tom
happened?
Kelly
Yeah.
whispered my ear. If you look at the highlights of the game, Tom Kelly at the end of the 8th inning come to me, whispered in my ear that I was done. That's what he ultimately said. You did a great job. Appreciate everything you've done. This is Jeff Reardon's time. So I went back upstairs to take my spikes off, to put my sneakers on, to get ready for the celebration because I didn't want to.
You were
spike
that
anybody.
confident that Reardon was going to shut him down.
That's what he did. 40 times that year. So anyway, I went back. While I was up there putting my sneakers on, ABC came in, a couple of people, and said, if you guys win, you're going to be named the MVP. That's what I first found out. And I'm like, first of all, you guys are crazy. I didn't do enough to win the MVP, but I appreciate that. So he said, all we want you to do is every time the camera's in your face, I want you to say, I'm going to Disneyland, I'm going to Disney World. Say it around 4 or 5 times. We'll get the best ones of those. So we end up winning. Celebrations going on. The camera comes in my face. Go to Disney World, or I'm going to Disneyland. End up getting $50,000 for that, and we got a free trip to Disney World for a week on.
Did we actually take care of that? Did we actually do
went.
that?
You guys all went, yeah, for a week. Grandma, Pop, Uncle Philip, family, you guys. We had a great time. We were in the parade, the Disney parade. You don't remember any of that?
No.
You were really.
I remember the ticker tape parade.
Yeah,
I remember
we were in
getting
that.
ticker tape in my face and my eyeball, and I was
that
crying.
was the parade. That was the parade. The parade down Minneapolis and during the parade downtown Minneapolis, St. Paul, he came with us, and we lost him for a bit because all the confetti buried him. There was that much confetti.
You buried me.
So we're like, oh man.
What was Mom doing? Why wasn't she taking care of me?
She was just too busy to say hi to everybody.
Okay, you guys, give me a baseball story right now. What do you want to hear?
What about Game 6 before that? In all honesty, that brought up to it.
Oh, what a
The
great
home
no.
run.
No, here's a great story, and this will probably end it, which will be perfect. So, Frankie's mom, Mrs. Viola, wanted to hang out with the wives, and she asked my mom and dad to watch Frankie during the game, and they said sure, no problem. Around the 7th inning,
Because St. Louis was up 3-2, right?
it was a close game at that time, and all of a sudden in the 7th inning, Frankie looked at his grandma,
Your mom,
my
grandma.
mom, my mama, pop, my dad, and said, I gotta take a crap.
I said crap when I was
He had to go to the bathroom. So my dad said, there's no way in hell I'm gonna leave this right now. So my mom says, I guess I'll take him to the bathroom. So while he was taking a shit in the bathroom, Ken Herbeck hit the grand slam to get to the 7th game.
Grandma wouldn't leave the bathroom.
So Frankie and Grandma watched the rest of the game, the last 2 innings, outside the bathroom because she didn't want to leave because she didn't want to jinx things. That's a true story. Your shit kept my mom from watching the game live. That's a true story.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Okay, well,
That is a true story.
Well, I got one more story before we shut it down, just so we can know how spoiled I was. NBA All-Star Game. I was a huge basketball fan forever. You used to
Michael Jordan
entertain-
fan, love Michael Jordan. We had season tickets, so we were nice enough, and Frankie liked collecting basketball cards. So we, after games, when special players were there, we'd go to their locker room,
And you
wait
got Michael Jordan's
outside,
autograph,
and
Shaq, Chris Mullin was your buddy.
all the cool guys signed autographs for Frankie, and he didn't think anything of it. But I mean, thinking back, it was pretty cool. So anyway, the All-Star Game comes to Orlando, and this is when Magic Johnson was diagnosed with the HIV. He didn't play that year, but he played in the All-Star Game. It was Michael Jordan's last All-Star Game.
Yep.
Isaiah Thomas thought he was all that and wanted to guard Magic, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had at that time, we had 4 season
Best tickets.
at half court, around 4 rows up, just great seats. Well, 2 of my seats were taken away from the family
By Evander
because
Holyfield.
of Evander Holyfield and his wife needed seats. So the NBA gave them those seats. And this is right after Evander got bit in the ear by Tyson. Anyway, so they ended up moving. My dad and my wife and I, Kathy and I, were sitting there with Evander and his wife. So Frankie and my dad, they moved their seats to another location, and it was like 12 rows up, really great seats behind the basket. And Numbnuts here looks at his pop-up and goes, "These are the worst seats I've ever sat in."
You can't sit.
What did my dad say? What did Pop-Pop say?
Said, shut the hell up and sit down.
So Frankie watched the All-Star Game from The worst seats ever.
12 rows up at the NBA All-Star game watching Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird go at it. Like, what is wrong with me?
Charles Barkley didn't sleep that night.
You went out with Charles Barkley that night.
We went out until like 3 in the morning.
I remember Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, he was the best.
Oh, my
Charles,
God.
That's why I only played 12 minutes, too.
You guys, thank you for joining the podcast. If you want to see more of
Thank
the
you.
live video from earlier, we'll put that on
Pay
YouTube
attention
as
to
well.
these guys. They're going to put on some good shows for you.
We're going to do our best to put on some great shows for you guys, teach you guys how to catch some fish, and hopefully we can do this again sometime, and then we can get some of your buddies around, actually,
Captain
too.
Frankie now. Take advantage of that.
Let's go, everybody. All right, thanks for watching Fishing with Frankie. Jimmy, you got anything to say?
No, we're all good, man.
All right, done. See you
Thanks,
guys.
See you later.